Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Not So Very Challenge Legacy Starter Home Speed Build. That is a mouthful of words. No, but I am playing through the Not So Berry Challenge on my YouTube channel in my Not So Berry Sim Spear Barrington. Finally saved up enough money for her first house. Typically, when I do Let's Plays, and you'll see this in the first episode next Friday, I always give my Sims zero simoleons and I make them really struggle those first couple days in game. Why? I don't know why. I think it's so much fun. So the first couple episodes of the Let's Play are actually going to be like Spear Barrington's going to be on the grind. But I think that's super fun. It's like playing every time you play is like a mini rags to riches challenge, and I think it's my favorite thing. I do it with every single Let's Play, every single save I ever do. I always play no money. Like I set the money, I buy the lot and set the money to zero and I give them nothing. So it's just a little extra challenge, a little extra fun. I enjoy it, and quite honestly, that's really what matters. But we are building the house. The house isn't super big. It's small enough to be the third tier of the tiny lot status. I didn't build it with the mindset of like, oh, I need to keep it within the tiny lot status, only because, like, obviously you get a ton of benefits and perks to stuff like that, but that was not my focus for this. But because it did fit within the requirements, I was like, oh, I'll throw that in. I've just finished the layout and now I'm working on the roof. I actually went back and forth a lot with the roof design. Same thing with the layout. The house is kind of a weird shape because it has all of those like single style like bump outs. Like if you'll notice, there's like a squiggle in the bedroom, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't want to block it off because I don't like doing that, but I like the outside of the house so much, so I don't want to change anything about it. So the house is a little weird shape in terms of that. So it took me a minute to get the layout. Initially was actually thinking about having like the living room and kitchen where the bedroom is, but I it made more sense I think the way I did it, and I liked the way I ended up setting it up. I was super excited to use the new windows from the base game update. I have yet to use them. Also, the green, the perfect color. Not quite mint, okay? But we're working with it. I actually struggled in terms of like the build mode objects to find like those minty colors. Like you saw me change the roof a ton of times. I thought about going with like a green roof, but I didn't really like it with the door and windows. So I ended up changing it. And I really don't like the green siding. It doesn't feel very minty to me, but I, for the life of me, could not find it. I kid you not, this video was twice as long, like when I sped it up, and I cut out that much of me just like paging through the things. I did leave some of it in so you can kind of see, and then I went to try and get like a minty accent on the roof pieces. You saw that for a second. Didn't work, didn't like it, it didn't look good. So I ended up going with what I did go with. I really end up loving the style and the vibe of the house. Oh, here we're about to see my biggest mistake with this house. And that's because I love the get together columns on the side of the house. I've said on here I'm an OG Simsy fan. I've been watching Simsy for a long time. I got that from Simsy and now I do it on every one of my houses, and I've done that for literal years. Something else you might notice is because I started my sim with $0, we are on a budget for this house, but not like a regular starting home budget. We initially started with like $5,000, and I grossly underestimated my build for $5,000. So this build is actually really interesting because we start the build, and we kind of get the shell of the house done, and then I run out of money. And then my sim, I'm like, okay, I guess we're just gonna go get more money. And so in between episode one and episode two, the speed build like takes place if you go and watch the Let's Play. So episode one stops like kind of like around here after the wallpaper and stuff is in. And then we come back for episode two, gain the additional like $5,000 it took to finish this house. Overall, the house ended up being about $11,000 total, so it's very much a starter home. Like we still have not even reached the max, and you can see that by how bare the house is. I can't even imagine. Like if I had another $10,000 for this house, it would have looked so good. I'm not used to building on like this kind of a budget because like I'm trying to make it look good because it's a speed build. Typically, I just leave my houses bare right away and I just slowly add to it, but that's a little bit harder to do when you're trying to like post it on YouTube to be a speed build that other people can play in and use. But I guess the nice part about having such like a cheap $11,000 house that's a little bit more basic is I've put in all the basics for you, right? Like everything you need is there, and then that's when you get to go in and do kind of like the customizing and decorating and stuff like that if you want to do that. because I've already done the layout, I've done all the wallpaper, I've got the big stuff in, and now you get to go in and put in the extra bits and bobs and really customize it to your sim. So I guess that works out if that's the purpose I'm telling myself I did it for, to make myself feel better. But you will kind of see that this house is a little bare at the end, and that's also partly like it is a legacy house, right? And so like I am going to be playing in this house, and as my sim gets more money, we will continue to add to the house. Maybe at some point after we are ready to move out of this house, I'll kind of just upload a little like, hey, here's what the house actually ended up looking like, just a little house update. um but yeah, we'll kind of see where that goes with it. I could have gotten rid of my upper cabinets, right? To get the money I needed. I was not going to do that. I love those cabinets. I haven't gotten to use the cottage living ones yet in gameplay. Like, it just hasn't fit with the build, and it fit with this one. Same thing with that wallpaper I put in the living room. If you notice, actually, it was in the bedroom at first. So I put it in the bedroom. I was like, what would this look like in the living room with that like that green tiling in the back? Because honestly, the baseboards on this, that is the mintiest mint color I've seen in a lot of things. It isn't like the bright blue mint, but like just feels very minty. So I used that because how could I not? And it looks phenomenal. I also struggled with the furniture for the living room too. Again, could not find the right colors. I ended up settling on this darker green, and I was gonna do this kind of like custom built like minty TV stand, and then I ended up finding something else I like later, so that will actually be disappearing in just a moment. Yep. It's not minty, but it matches the living room set, and I liked that. So I tried my best to make this house as minty as I could while still making it like functional and look good. It just looks very light green. Ugh. Except for the bathroom. That bathroom, mint. Very, very mint. I think she bought this house specifically for the bathroom. Like, that bathroom looks like it came from the 80s, and she was like, no, I'm gonna leave it. I love the mint so much. And then she came in and kind of decorated the rest of the house. Uh, Again, I'm starting to get down on money now, and I was really struggling with finishing the rest of this like furnishing, because I really didn't have a lot of options left, it felt like at this point. Like, I just kept going back and forth in terms of what I wanted to do with it. Same thing with that rug. I put it back and forth between the bedroom and the living room a couple different times because I was like, do I like it in the bedroom? Do I like it in the living room? And I liked it in the living room better, but I was like, the bedroom is so bare, like it needs something. Uh, but I ended up putting it in the living room because it made more sense there. So the main area looks a lot more complete and well done than the bedroom area does. The bedroom area did end up like shaping out a little bit, like that plant. Liked it there, but I think I'm gonna put the kitchen table there at some point because this build does not have a kitchen table. But I'd like to put one in that like little open area just to put like a little dining nook. But for now, my Sim's just gonna eat on the couch. They do that most of the time anyway. I could give them a kitchen table and they'll eat it at 50% of the time, so it's fine. Honestly, I mean, I have a kitchen table in real life. I don't use my kitchen table that much. I do really like where the bed placement ends up being. I like that there's just like the one little nightstand and then the other side. So eventually, when my sim gets married, like there will be space there. We also, if you notice, just a little peek, the element table actually gets filled out halfway through this video again because I did a little bit of gameplay. So the element, like our periodic table, we're missing 4 elements already, and it's been like 4 days in. I'm really trying to crank out the not so barrier requirements. We are moving on to landscaping right now. I did landscape this with debug because I had like 13 simoleons. I think was all the money I had left by the end of this build, but at least it's functional. So, and it'll be great for expanding. I really loved how the landscaping turned out. This is me going through and getting my debug objects because you can't copy and paste them. So it's just putting a ton out. I was going to use those purple flowers and I actually ended up changing them to the yellow, and I'm really happy I did because I think the yellow goes really, really nicely with the green. Uh, so in terms of landscaping, really loved it. My low lying flowers were like these like herb bushes with like low flowers in them. Obviously the whole house is green. It's not like the rose color generation where I can have a ton of red flowers. So I deviated a little bit and did something that complemented the green instead. Overall, like especially I don't build with a lot of these colors a lot. Like I'm not a big green person. Like I like green. I use green sometimes in my builds, but not any of these shades of green. So it was super fun to kind of experiment with some things that I haven't really used a whole lot, as well as just some different color combos. Like I would have never used those yellow flowers because yellow is also not my favorite color to use in game. I love blues and purples and pinks and all of that. So when you do see me just start speed building, just regular builds, you'll see those. But for now, the Not So Berry Challenge definitely pushed me outside of my building limits. I am not a professional builder by any sense of the word. Like I am not a perfect builder. I have so much to learn yet in terms of building, but like I do okay. I like to build all of my own houses. I do put a lot of like thought, energy, and like time into my builds. Again, I'm building a mansion right now. It's huge. It's for my current household. It's on the 64 by 64 lot in Del Sol Valley, and that is taking, I've been working on it for like a couple weeks. Like I go in and I do a couple rooms in the house every single day. And that, like, the amount of detail in that, because I'm giving myself an unlimited budget, is insane. Uh, so I'm hoping to eventually go through and detail this out. My sim is currently collecting the My Sim figurines, and so eventually those will go up on a wall somewhere. Like I'll put in a shelving unit somewhere once I have the funds to do so. Uh, anyway, so I'm starting to kind of scroll around the house. We're doing the terrain paint right now. The terrain paint went fine. I have that nice pathing in front. I obviously couldn't afford to like lay down any like concrete or any other like floor tiles for that. So I ended up using the terrain paint. The terrain paint definitely kind of brought the build to life a little bit. I used a darker terrain paint underneath the flowers, and then around the side of the house I actually used like a lighter dirt color. You can see it right there. Oh no, not that one, sorry. Yeah, that one. So I used like a lighter dirt color. And then I really liked what I did at the bottom of these back steps of like I made it a little bit of dirt coming out, so it kind of looks like people have been using the steps a lot. Cause I'm super curious to see how this build turns out after playing in the Legacy. So you'll definitely have to stop by to check that out. All right, guys, we are at the end of our speed build for the Not So Berry house, but I do want to take a minute to go through and actually show you the house. This is the outside final. We'll just take a little view around. I really love how the house turned out in terms of the shape. Obviously, this is like a let's play house, a legacy house, and so I will be continuing to add to the house over time. I know it looked a little bare, but it's okay. Bear with me. No pun intended. First, you're going to go and you're going to enter through the front door, and you're immediately going to be greeted by this little living room and kitchen area. And you imagine a dining table going kind of in this open spot at some point, but that's for a later time. Next, you're going to enter into the bathroom, which is super small. It definitely has a lot of like mint vibes going on. So it's very nice in terms of that. I never use the sink. I love the sink in here. Again, more detail coming at some point. And then here you're going to round the corner into the master bedroom, which again feels a little bare, but you know, we've got a little something going on with it. Obviously, this is a starter home, and so it's super duper tiny, but I love it. It's perfect for our sim sphere, and I'm so excited to play in this house. I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to see how this Let's Play turns out and watch how the house develops over time, please watch the Let's Play. The cast was posted yesterday. The first official episode of the Let's Play is coming next Friday, so be sure to subscribe so you can follow along with Spear Barrington's journey. With that, though, we've reached the end of the video. I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful day, and bye-bye, guys.